if you want to work on this field, it's better you must see the human and people and not the crimes they made.
Voices to Hear.
Hello everyone and welcome to Voices to Hear. My name is Taika and I'm here today with Katariina, a social counselor from Finland. In this episode we'll be talking about her work with prisoners and their families and what happens after they're released back to the society. First of all, welcome.
Thank you, Taika.
So tell us a bit about yourself and your professional background.
Okay, I've been working my whole career with a kind of in the dark side of people's lives. First I worked with unemployed people a few years, and then I worked in this day center for homeless and drug addicts. And now I've been working in this Finnish foundation for offenders and their families for 6 years now.
How did you end up in working with criminals?
Kind of accidentally. I was studying and working at the same time with homeless people, and then I saw this job available, and I got this feeling right away that I want that job, it's mine, and it was, and it's kind of a privilege also to know how to do and can do this work.
But currently you are working with the families. Can you explain a bit about that, what you are practically doing with them?
I have a lot of clients. Usually they are offenders' wives or mothers, or maybe sisters also. And then I have these maybe 1 hour a week or whatever they need and what is the situation. At first we contact more often, and they can just, because it's always a shock when your husband or some relative goes to prison. So it's kind of shock first, and then it comes like daily life at a time. So I have these clients, and then we have these family camps for prisoner comes from prison, and usually his family and children comes, and then we spend 5 days, and it's like intensive family rehabilitation. No, I lost the word.
Intense family rehabilitation.
Thank you. And it depends. We have this theme. Another one is relationship, and another one is parenting. So these I like really much.
But are these people prisoners, or are they on probation, or?
They are in prison, and they come from prison.
And they get a holiday from the not holiday, but they get time from the prison for 5 days.
Yes.
And they have to be with you during that time. What are you doing with them? What's your goal in doing this?
These camps, for example.
Yes, in these camps.
It's important that they can, of course, first of all, spend time with their children and families, because it's not so nice to children to go to prison and then meet like 3 hours or 4 hours or maybe just 45 minutes. And we have a really tough schedule there. From the morning we make groups, adults, and then we have separated groups for children. So we work with emotions and with relationships and parenting stuff, and we have a lot of tools to work with children and adults also.
Okay. But you said before that it's a common stereotype that the families of the criminals are also criminals or like bad kind of people. Is there any truth in that stereotype?
No. No, I don't think so. There is a lot of stigma around these people, and you could be in prison like next week. You never know what happens in your life, and of course, like in Finland, 80% or maybe over, even offenders have a drug problem. So the most of the crimes they made not...
Intoxicated.
Yes.
What are the most typical crimes that you are working with?
Yeah, I don't know what is a typical crime, but maybe in the camps there are a lot of course, I don't want to use the word murderer. There is a human being and he's a human being and not a murderer. He just committed a murder. So that's more nicely because of the stigma also, because if you want to work on this field, it's better you must see the human and people and not the crimes they made.
So you could say you're working with people who did these crimes.
Yeah, did something bad to somebody, or maybe steal something, or maybe did some financial crimes or something.
So every kind of crimes, there is nothing standing out?
Well, maybe violent things are on top. And because they are also have these really long sentences, so it's so more important them to spend time with their families.
Have you ever had like a so-called lost cases where you see that where you're not confident that you can actually help these people?
Yeah, the helping is really interesting term, because I always say that I'm not helping here because people help themselves. I'm just, I'm with them and I help them to help themselves and their families, because you cannot do like helping, because people have a lot of social problems, and it's not only the crime, there is a lot of things behind that also.
Usually prison is seen as a punishment, and from your point of view, from working inside the system, does prison work?
People also use it like as when you're on, you had using drugs a long time, maybe 20 or 30 years, you just sometimes go to prison to rest. And then the punishment does not ever help. It has to be like, in Finnish prison they also have these things that they do this
Rehabilitation?
Why is it so hard word for me to say? In prison they do these courses and stuff for people which includes this they work there or they can study there, and they try to just learn to be sober, for of course, because there are also a lot of drugs going also in Finnish prisons. So first of all you have to be sober, so you can get to know yourself and kind of find out the reasons why you, for example, use drugs, and of course to make new relationships to your family and all the people around you, and most of important to yourself.
What are you doing with the people in order to get them integrated back to society? Because of course you need to know yourself and you need to get rid of your possible other problems with substances and stuff, but what are the first steps that you're doing when a person gets released from prison?
First step you have to have, we have this thing in Finland, the trial leave with leg brace, and it can be like 6 months before you go out. And you have you have to have apartment, you have to have a job, you have to have something, you treat yourself like
psychologists.
Yes, or rehabilitation at the same time, like NA group or something. And you have to be at home from 9 in the evening till 6 in the morning. And then there is this tukipartio. There is this system that these guys from prison come to check on you, and they just come, like they don't tell you before, and then you have to go in prison regularly for taking the
Drug tests?
you have to go to prison regularly to take drug test. And if you broke these rules, you go back to jail. So this is really nice way to come back to society, because you have to, behave like behave yourself. Not a good word.
But what are the most common troubles that they're facing with the society after living inside?
With the society. Of course, it's really hard to get a job, because you can see, maybe even if you Google somebody who did this serious crime, sometimes they change their names, and it gets easier then, of course. And then you need to have a good job, and a lot of times they have a lot of debt. If you have a lot of debt, you go to work and then you just get a little bit, so it's difficult. And if you are, you've been doing criminal things and had a lot of money, so it's really difficult to, come down and be with not so good money. And there is a lot of kind of thing. And the most important, what you think about yourself, of course.
So in general, I think it requires a lot from a person to integrate back to. But what does it require from you as a person who is working with these people?
Support and seeing you as you are, and not the criminal or not the actions you made, maybe. It's difficult to say, because there is a lot of these things you can do and the treatments and stuff like that. But I personally think that it's just to see you as a human being, as an equal human being than everybody else. So it's a bit sad also that people think that if you do something, you are the doing.
It defines you as a person.
Yeah, and it's not nice.
So back to the family work that you've been doing for the past years, the latest job that you have, you're working with the children as well, right?
Yes.
How do you explain to a child that's what's going on in these kind of situations?
We always recommend that you say it straight. Like, of course, if you are really a small child, you explain it differently. And my colleague also write a book, this storybook, that it's called Miru's Dad is in Prison, and it's really nice way, and it helps telling a little child that what is happening and what feelings you feel, anger of course, and sadness of course, and you miss your parent a lot, and we always recommend that you say it straight, because there is a lot of this, that father is in Norway or somewhere working or whatever, but children are really clever. They understand a lot more than we think. So it's no use to lie. And then imagine your parent is in prison for 5 years, and you grow up, and then you are a teenager, and then you find out and that your parents lied to you, and it's not, you have to
Just
trust
doesn't
them.
work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
But do you see a lot of reconnecting between the parents and the children in the camps that you're doing?
No, we give a lot of time for them as a family. The groups we don't have together, because we work really with emotion things and hard things with adults, so not for children. But it's really nice. It's really beautiful to see the connection, because usually both sides are really a bit scared and excited, of course, to see. But then they kind of melt together, and it's really nice to see that the love is always there and stuff. It's a good example. Last camp, there was this from prison side. They told about this one guy that he's not going to manage in the camp. He looks scary, and he doesn't do groups, and we really don't like him to come. And then we were like, of course, hey, we got this guy because we got interested. And he was so cute. He had his wife and 6 month old son there. And he was so cute with the baby and so loving with his wife and with us. And he was the only one or the first one who hugged us really nicely and said thank you a lot about this opportunity. Now I had the tools with managing my feelings and managing my future, going out or become back to my family and blah blah blah. And it was so cute. So it was. We told that also to prison he is in, because it's really important that people are scared of you and you are the most warm people. Again, the stigma, it goes inside, outside, everywhere.
Okay. In general, in the northern countries like Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, the crime rates are pretty low compared to, for example, in US. The crime rate within 5 years of releasing is 75, when in the northern countries is going around 20 or 30. Unfortunately, in Finland it's still 60. But do you think they are lower because of the system working like this? Because this is very uncommon in prisons to be even able to leave the prison.
Yeah, it's all about the how you rehabilitations and stuff, and coming back to society and learn how to be in the society again. And I think the rates are so high because we have a big drug problem in Finland also. So I think it's one of the biggest reasons, of course. And we have a really nice system, but there is a lot to do with attitude in the social field and in prisons and in public also. So we still have a lot of work to do, and with this rehabilitation.
Is it hard sometimes to work with people whose idea of right and wrong is different? Do you ever feel like you are angry at them or scared of them? Or do you feel like it's hard to work with people whose moral might be a bit different from the general population?
Yeah, and of course it is a bit different, but again, you cannot work in this field if you think people are what they do. But there is, of course, this thing we actually these days talk about it a lot, this compassion fatigue, that when you work and you helping and stuff, so you just need to know when you come to work with this area that what is going to be there, which kind of people, and you have to prepare and you have to put your feelings aside. And of course, you have to have a lot of compassion and you have to be professional. With compassion, I think it's really important, not like clinical, like, yes, now I'm helping you. And it's not, down there, because we are equal persons. And
So for one last thing, is there any common stereotypes that you'd like to break about criminals or their family or anything in your field that should not be there?
yeah, I think actually I said it a lot of times now that don't think people are their actions, even whatever they did. And don't judge the whole family or parents, because you never know what happens, because you have you might accidentally like kill somebody in the traffic and you go in jail and you are a totally good person. And so I think people are good, and I think we should see beyond everybody's doings and actions, because we're all under the same sky.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us and telling us a bit about your work and the system. And We hope you enjoy your rest of the holiday in Macedonia.
Thank you.
Voices to hear.